All right. Hello. Welcome back to Happy Is Life. How are you guys doing today? What is the vibe like today? I promise. I literally just sat here and was like, it's so good I'm not sneezing because I always start sneezing once I get on camera. So there went that dream. But anyway, so oh my gosh, I'm like scratching and everything. My allergies are just going out of control. Okay, let's restart. How are you guys doing? Welcome back to Happy Is Life. What's the vibe? How are you guys doing? What's up? Okay, so let's start there. So, what is the vibe? How are you guys doing? How are you feeling? What has your day been like so far? Are we feeling anxious? Are we feeling worried? Or are we feeling a little down? Are we feeling a little disappointed? Let's take a moment to check in with ourselves. Let's take a deep breath in and a long breath out. And then let's try to focus on how our feet feel in our shoes. Or if you're sitting, how does the seat feel below you? And then from there, let's go up. If it's from your feet up to your thighs, how does your skin feel? Either in your shorts or your jeans or in your skirt. How does your thighs feel? Let's go up from there. How does your lower back feel on any of the surfaces? How does your abdomen feel in your jeans or shirt? Now from there, let's imagine a strong, bright, powerful white light coming up from the bottom of your soles, or if you can imagine it coming up from the ground, a strong, beautiful white light, bright, almost blue white. Powerful, strong, lots of energy behind it. We're gonna imagine that light coming up from our soles or from the ground, up through our legs, through our abdomen, up into our chest, up and through our neck and shoulders, up to our mouth, up to our nose, up to our eyes, and then up beyond our heads, all the way up through the ceiling, if you can imagine this white light. And at this moment, imagine that white light bursting into like a mist, a showery type of mist, and it just cascades all over your body. So I hope that helps. If you've had a rough day or you just feel like you need a little bit of reinvigorating, I swear when I get on camera, I can't talk anymore. But anyway, if you can imagine, just be reinvigorated with that, with all of that energy and that light. Okay, so let's get into the topic. So I have been, now you all know I love crystals. I love the idea of crystals healing, the power, the frequency. And because I'm interested in crystals and its power, its healing, and frequencies, that for me, it naturally brings me to geometry, sacred geometry. And from that, I want to understand the basis, because sacred geometry kind of helps you understand the basis of frequencies, shapes and forms, and just the framework of life. And so that has brought me into this area of sacred geometry, and you'll probably hear me talk a lot more about it because I find it extremely interesting. And for those of you all who may be wondering exactly what is sacred geometry, sacred geometry is basically, it's the study of basically the foundational forms of life. Like it's the very basis of life, where it began and how it formed, and its form and its frequency within that form. And why they call it sacred is because it's whole and complete. So in that manner, if it's whole and complete and unchanging, then it can be considered a holy or sacred, like it doesn't ever change. And so that's what I find very interesting about this. It's the foundational basis and makeup of life in itself. And when you study that, the formation and basics and foundation of life in itself, and you look at that as far as crystals, for me, it helps you further understand the utility and the beauty, or the basis and understanding of crystals and how it can work. So its utility. And so I thought, since I talk a lot about crystals on this channel, that you guys would be able to benefit from what I am finding concerning sacred geometry. So let's start with something that I think will be very useful in understanding how sacred geometry works as the foundational point of life in itself, and how it tries to describe that. So in sacred geometry, there is what they call the flower of life symbol. The flower of life symbol describes how all of creation came to be and how creation will continue to form. And within the flower of life, at the very center, there is this form called the Vesica Pisces. And in the Vesica Pisces is pretty much two circles intersecting with each other. And in the middle, as they intersect, there's a little portion in there that kind of looks like a fish. And that's the Vesica Pisces. And that is the point of creation. So you have all that is and will be, like the very beginning of life form is the first circle, the complete circle, the very beginning of life, all life forms. Like before, it's, if you really can, you can put it like this: it's the void. It's all potential. It's just pure potential in here. Then here is the branch out where potential becomes creation. The second circle is creation. So in that, from potential comes creation, and then the middle is where creation begins. It's the Vesica Pisces. So that is the point where everything, that is the point where everything begins. That's the jump off point of creation, right there in the middle, the Vesica Pisces. And so I took some notes. I was reading up on it. I took some notes, and this is basically what it says. The sacred portal comes from, and also can be described as the yoni. It's a Sanskrit meaning for holy passage. a portal between worlds, the bridge between the physical and the non-physical realms. That's the Vesica Pisces. And for me, that is that's very useful for those of us who want to understand how to create things, to move things from one point of being into another point of being. So if you're wanting to manifest things, for me, it's important to understand how creation begins and the baseline of it. And from that, if you want to trying to focus on bringing things into your life, it's important to understand that there's a point where things are sitting as potential, and there's a point where things become a manifested thing. And that's good to understand when people think of law of attraction, intentional thinking. It's important to understand that law of attraction, or I prefer to say intentional thinking. Intentional thinking, you're in a mindset of trying to create. You have these thoughts, you have things you want to create. These things currently do not exist. Your intention, your practices, what you concentrate on is the point where you're bridging something. You're creating a Vesica Pisces in your life at that point. You're bringing something out of pure potential. And I think this could be useful for people who want to really manifest things in their life. I think you could actually use this as a meditation. You can imagine what you're trying to, and you can actually, I would even do imagining, visualizing the Vesica Pisces, visualizing potential and creation, and then the both of them bridging together, and then the center is what you want to create. And I think that would be important to meditate on that, because you're working, at this point, you're working with the forms of creation itself, and you're bringing your own intention into that. So for me, I believe this will be very helpful and useful for those of us who want to manifest and bring things into our life. So hopefully that's helpful, you guys. I don't want to make this video too long because it's a lot of information and different topics to get into, but this very important. I felt like this was very important for those of us who are trying to, like myself, who are trying to create something out of nothing and trying to stay focused on what it is you're trying to do, and understanding that there's a method and a process for it. And from that, I believe things can really come. I mean, you're working with the foundation of life, the framework of creation itself. So all we can do is give it our best effort. But I don't believe we're just giving our best effort. We're actually working with how form and creation begins. So how can you not be successful with that? So that's all for me today. Thank you so much for stopping by Happiest.life. If you love this type of content, I do much more content on crystals, on things going on, current events, its effect spiritually on many of us. I do a lot of discussions about vibration, crystals, crystal healing, and all that good esoteric, spiritual, get your vibe right type stuff. So just hopefully it provides healing and restoration to people. So thank you so much again, and have a wonderful, awesome, and blessed day. Bye.